This is the story of how Grace and I were meant to be together. People are always asking me, did I get her as a puppy or did I adopt her from the shelter? And the answer is neither. Fate brought us together, and I will prove it to you. So, about 10 years ago, I was in my early 20s and I was so broke. I was in no position to get a dog. In fact, I was cleaning people's houses for extra money. One of the houses that I cleaned was this woman named Erin. She was super nice, super kind, and she had one German Shepherd named Bella. No other dogs, no kids, no nothing. So I cleaned Erin's house for months, and eventually she said that she needed a personal assistant. And guess what? That became my job. I cleaned her house, I organized her office, I picked up her dry cleaning, and took her dog Bella to the vet. I also learned how to do social media management for her. Erin became essentially my life mentor, and something really sad happened, which is that Erin's mom passed away unexpectedly. Erin was in her early 40s, and her mom was not old. It was shocking. It was tragic, it was sad, and she left behind her 1-year-old puppy, which is Grace. So here's the thing, Erin adopted Grace, and when I met her, I swear to you, I knew she was my dog. Obviously, it was not the time for me to say that because this is her late mother's dog who she just got, and I wasn't going to be like, oh my God, I want to adopt her. No way. I know I probably sound a little crazy, but I swear I felt this connection with her immediately. I just knew. I knew she was meant to be with me. So Erin goes on to have 2 daughters, and I swear it happened so fast, probably just because I was in my 20s living my life. But Erin moved on to our ranch. She has 2 little girls under 5 suddenly. She has 2 dogs, 2 horses, 2 cats. It was a lot. Meanwhile, I start my own social media business, and Erin and I are still friends, and sometimes I dog sit for her. And every time I dog sit for her, I tell Grace, you're my girl. And every time I left her there, it always felt wrong. So I try to move on, right? I try to tell myself, you're being crazy, you're being clingy, you're just obsessed with this one dog. She's not your dog. And she was my friend's late mother's dog. What am I gonna do? Say, hey, can I have your late mother's dog? Thought about it though. I did. So anyways, I try to move on with my life. I literally went to a shelter to look at other dogs and thought maybe I just need to rethink my plans. Maybe there's another dog that's meant for me. I took them for walks and I loved them. I loved them for who they were, but I knew in my heart that they were not my dog because Grace is my dog. And then one day it happens. I open my phone and Erin had sent me a message and she said, hey, I'm thinking of rehoming Grace. Would you be interested? Girl, I'm on my way over. Yeah, I'm interested. I waited for that message for years. So here's the thing. When I got that text message, I was living in an apartment where I couldn't have dogs. And I get that message and the first thing I think is, I'm going to move out. If I can't have Grace, it's not somewhere I want to be anymore. I had been in that apartment for pretty much the whole 10 years that I had known Grace. But that day that I received that text message, I gave notice on that apartment. I made plans to move out. I told my roommate that I was leaving. Did I have anywhere to live? No. Did I have savings? No. You guys, no joke. Within a couple of weeks, I had moved out of my apartment, picked up Grace, gotten rid of most of my belongings, and we loaded up in my 2005 gold Camry, and we traveled the country together. And the entire trip, I kept looking up at the sky and thinking, when things are meant to be, they will be. Because I was not meant to have Grace when I first met her. And then, when I was meant to have her, I did have her. There are times where people say, you're obsessed with your dog. And all I can say to that is that everyone deserves to have someone who's obsessed with them. Now it's 2025. Grace is 11 years old, and she is a Border Collie Australian Shepherd mix, in case you're curious. Grace is slowing down a tiny bit. She has a little bit of salt and pepper around her nose. It's really cute. Fortunately, Border Collies and Australian Shepherds tend to live quite a long time, so I hope I get another 10 years with Grace. Just for reference, we live in Oregon, and this is her life. Pretty sweet, I think. This is her in Arizona. This is her in Utah. This is her in New Mexico. You cannot tell me that there is not such thing as fate. Thanks for listening.